Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, check this out. Don't mind me, don't mind that. But look, man, what's the one thing every wrestling fan hates? That's terrible booking. You hear it all the time. You hear people complain about it all the time. You even hear news outlets doing countdowns on it all the time. Terrible booking for this, terrible booking for that. But what's one thing nobody ever talks about? No one talks about the terrible booking that's actually a blessing in disguise in the long run. That's what we're going to discuss in tonight's Fray 5. But before we do that, first of all, I want to give a shout out to some of the Reddit users for their contributions. Reddit's not the only spot I went to, but the only ones that gave me any feedback. So, I'm your boy, Jay Bryan with the Wrestling Fray. Now, before we do this countdown, let's go join the fray.
Tell me dealing with the stress, tell me dealing with the pain. Getting trying to find a way, cause I just wanna be alive. Cause I don't think that I just wanna go and die today. Man, I used to think to myself, yeah, why am I this way? Then I found out that I am a champion. Now I'm rising up in this light, yeah. I'm a champion, I'm a rise, but I'm never gonna give up. I don't care about the path, but the hiccups. I'ma get through now, I stick up for myself and my future. Cause I just want all of this greatness. Cause I'm a champion and I'm the one that is really gonna make it. I'm a champion.
Tonight, we are going to talk about terrible booking decisions that actually led to good outcomes. Now, here's the thing. Got a quick disclaimer. A lot of these results came from Reddit users, so some of the usernames aren't going to be exactly PG, so to speak. Anyway, that you got that warning, let's start off with the Stardust gimmick. Now, the Stardust gimmick was terrible, but it led Cody's release from the company, thus leading to a career revitalizing outside of WWE that saw him win the NWA and ROH World titles respectfully, as well as the IWGP US title, and also the TNT Championship, the inaugural one, and AEW, I guess, that played a hand in that being created. So, now we're going to go on to Batista winning the Royal Rumble. Now, Batista winning the Rumble was a terrible booking decision as it left the once admired strong babyface to be heavily booed out of the building constantly during his brief return. However, this has actually led to a bigger feel-good moment at WrestleMania 30 for the Yes Movement as Daniel Bryan conquered both the Animal and the Viper. And while we're talking about Bryan, Daniel Bryan being squashed at WrestleMania. And this idea came from Real Administration 48. So WrestleMania is undoubtedly the biggest stage of them all, so any world title match to only last 18 seconds is going to be a bad booking decision. After this, Bryan kind of fell down the card, but eventually worked his way back up by winning the hearts of the WWE Universe with his in-ring ability, and I guess you can give a little nod to Team Hell No, and planted the seed for the eventual Yes Movement. Morrison's ECW Championship run. And this one was talked about by Redditor BC041203. From what we hear, Chris Benoit was supposed to win the ECW title this night against CM Punk before disaster struck. So the decision was then made to have Morrison go over Punk for the championship. However, Punk was the moreover superstar, and Morrison's run was highly forgettable. But this was corrected by eventually putting the title on Punk, which was a great decision in spite of how badly WWE will treat the ECW Championship. Roman's face run. And this one was given by Redditor Material Wonder 1690. Now for years, Roman's big dog run was mostly hated, and everyone thought he was going to be shoved down their throats as the next John Cena, not to mention his abysmal promo.
Sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffering succotash.
But in my mind, this is part of the reason why his heel and much more popular gimmick, the Tribal Chief, was a breath of fresh air and by far one of the best things in the company right now. Taven winning at G1 Supercard. This one was given by Redditor Shadow Strike 99. Now, there was an excellent ladder match between Matt Taven, Jay Lethal, and Marty Scurll at G1 Supercard for the ROH World title. Now, Matt Taven won, much to the chagrin of some fans who thought Marty Scurll should have been given that nod. However, if Marty Scurll did win, it might have looked kind of bad given that the Speak Out movement came into fruition the very next year. Now, as far as the Speak Out movement and Marty Scurll, y'all gonna have to do that research on your own because the last time I talked about the Speak Out movement on this channel, I got crucified in the comments. So do yourself a favor and just Google it. The Beginnings of the Dark Order by Redditor Decilllion. I hope I got that right. So the Dark Order wasn't all that great to start off AEW. They would take on a serious tone, asking people to join them in some twisted cult, and it just wasn't the best. However, it led to the perfect situation for the arriving and emerging Brody Lee to come and take center stage as their leader. May he rest in peace. Then we have the Greater Power storyline, and this was given by Redditor SFWBattler. So the Greater Power storyline was once again another long, drawn-out nonsense, even for the Attitude Era. However, it inadvertently led to a passed-out Stephanie getting married to Triple H and forming the McMahon-Helmsley Era regime faction, whatever have you. And it actually led to some great TV. Now, I know the downside with the trans situation in real life, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Becky's Lackluster Heel Turn by Redditor Copperjedi. So, Becky's heel turn at the time was lackluster at best, but hey, all she needed to do was take a right hand from Nia, which would eventually lead to her infamous man gimmick. So, as I said earlier, we as wrestling fans, we hate terrible booking. but sometimes terrible booking actually leads to great results. Not purposely, as you saw from some of these results, but what are some terrible booking decisions that actually led to some prominent results that you can think of? Let me know in the comments. This is Jay Brown with the Wrestling Fray. Peace out. Thanks for following us to the end of the video, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook at the Wrestling Fray Facebook page. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Jimmy Fray Twitter page, your name. Because I'm the one that set it up, and that's the name they gave us. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe right here on YouTube. Thank you for joining the fray. Good night.